For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, M.D.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AIM Impact on Your Health. AIM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AIM Impact on Your Health, it's heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AIM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and of course, where we do encourage you to call in to join in. Today, well, we had a guest last week. He was the featured speaker up at the Freedom of Choice in Cancer Therapy group. His name was and is Dr. Emil Schandl. We had him on our show preceding his visit up there in Butler, and he got a compelling message, folks. It's about how to diagnose cancer when nothing else really could, in utilizing blood testing and urine testing to do so. Now, I thought the message was very powerful. I understand he had a wonderful presentation up at the Freedom of Choice in Cancer Therapy group, but so many of you can't seem to make it. I couldn't make it up there, and I think the message is so powerful and so strong that I had a chance to talk with a good doctor prior to when he went up to stage and spoke. I spoke with him about 20 minutes or so, and we're bringing him back on our show this morning. Now, I promised to stay on him. He has a little tendency of Bill and I were talking about, to, speak away from the phone or something, and sometimes a little difficult to understand. I promised to try to keep him on point and have his voice directed into the phone so that the message about how to test, and such a sensitive test, utilizing HCG, you've heard about that before, all his work, really got a great amount of papers, research papers on the subject. We'll try to clarify this issue again today and firm it up in your own minds and in my own mind too. That being said, if in the course of our discussion with the good doctor this morning you want to call in, either ask a question or make a comment, the number, of course, as always, will be 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. The process is called CA Profile. And if you want to go to a computer right now, you want to dial up and get a little clarification while we're talking, the website is caprofile.net. We're back with him right after our first break, and that is Dr. Emil Schandl. Now, as the rest of the month is shaping up pretty well, folks. Got a guest. I thought I had an opening. We were going to do open phones. We are not going to be doing open phones on Wednesday. A guest has emerged, and I think he's got a fascinating topic. Certainly, he's going to have a very interesting story. His name is Mr. Eric Lapp, L-A-P-P, and let me see the bio on that. He's a former addict, cocaine, meth, and opiate, the big three, and he's turned his life around. He says that he did so by consuming amino acids, in a particular amino acid treatment. He says, you want to turn your life around with any addiction. Of course, you may not be into the big three, but you may have your own. You may be a smoking thing. It may be alcohol. It may be others. He says it's easily enough handled with the use of a product he put together. He calls it Modera. Anyway, Eric Lapp, with history, especially in these days of Charlie Sheen. I got to ask her about Charlie Sheen and whether maybe he ought to send him a six-pack of his product or not. Charlie Sheen is dominating the media right now. And we'll hear from Eric Lapp on Wednesday. So if you have any addictive relatives or family members you want to make sure you listen and at least get them clustered around there to find around the radio to find out what they can do about their particular addictive issues. Then on Friday, as I've been telling you, good friend of mine, David Brownstein, been many years now since David was in Pittsburgh. He was here, of course, for one of our little parties we threw down there, one of our seminars at the Sheraton in Station Square. And at the time, he launched his new book. It was a brand new book. It was on iodine and why you need it. It really got us all thinking around here, and it really has picked up. I think iodoral has become the #1 selling non-prescription supplement everywhere because everybody's on it, and he's the one who got us started with it. Well, I had a chance to talk to David not too long ago, and I heard by him that, look, you know what, you may not have my newer edition. Turns out, he said, I'll send it to you, and I'll send you along some of my other books. Well, I know why I haven't seen David, because he sent me 9 books. So between when we saw him last and now, he's written 8 other books, and he's got the 4th edition of the iodine book. I guess Dr. Brownstein has been a real busy guy. We're going to have him on our show to talk about the iodine issue. We'll probably branch off and cover many of these other books before this year is out. It'll take that long to try to relive the accomplishments of this doctor. Good friend of mine from Michigan. He's going to be our guest on Friday. Then next Monday, now get ready for it, Roland Thomas is coming back. You know, he represents that Canadian company that manufactures or assembles, puts together the bioengineered algae concentrates that were developed by Dr. Michael Kiriak, a Soviet scientist, now been transplanted to Canada. But this algae is raising a big ruckus with in terms of super supplementation in a way. Well, in a way I've really never seen it before. I brought Roland back, or we'll be bringing him back on next Monday's show to be able to highlight what is all contained in it. We haven't really talked about those ingredients, and when you start seeing what the ingredients are, it really makes the case for what are you supplementing with. Are you really over-supplementing with so many different products? I tell you, I got the shopping bag crew that usually comes in to see me. They're on 20, 30, 40, 50 supplements and looking to be on another one. I say, hey, Boulder Dash, you don't need to be on all those things, and you may just be able to select something like this and solve it all in one wind fell swoop. He'll be our guest next Monday on the 14th. On the 16th, Susan Smith-Jones comes back. She's this va-va-va-voom doctor out in the West Coast, PhD kind of doc, who's been really entrenched and involved in health and living healthy and how to advise you to do so. She also, talk about an authoress, 26 different books. She's going to be talking about 10 weight loss tips, and I'm guessing she ought to know. Then don't forget the MCG testing. We'll have Jerry Singleton come on our show, for a 5 or 10 minute spot on a number of shows between now and the 17th. We're all focused on the 17th of March because that's the day where we're going to do it again, folks. We open up MCG testing, which of course stands for multifunctional cardiogram testing. Here in our office, this is a unique device which is able to literally assess the status of your coronary arteries, the heart, and other vasculature as if you had a full-blown cardiac catheterization, but you've had no cardiac cath at all. It's an innocuous test. It is non-invasive. It takes 7 minutes while lying on your back, having your ankles and your wrists exposed only, and electronic wizardry takes over. And within 7 minutes, you are tested 5 different times. You can't tell when one test begins and the other ends, but 5 different tests are run, and we evaluate the scores at the end of the day, tossing out 2 of the least representative scores and holding on to the other 3, and that's what we have our consultation about when we discuss the results. Anyway, if you're looking for a way to sort of figure out where you may stack up, You may be wondering, I've been on these medicines for a while, if you take them, or maybe just time is moving on. You wonder, hey, I'm in my mid-50s now, and I just wonder what my status is. I sure don't want to have something like a cardiac cath. I don't even want to go to a cardiologist. Is there a way I could find out? Well, voila. I think there is a way. This MCG testing provides the way. It's just starting to move into the western Pennsylvania area. You've heard us talk about it many, many times here. And so if you feel that you'd like to be part, the schedule is filling up, folks. But we've opened it up to general public, other than my patients. To just call in if you listen to the show. 724-942-3002. We'll get you slotted. It's only going to take you at tops. Well, the test is 7 minutes. But between getting in there and getting out of there, we're going to be scheduling every 15 minutes all day, starting at 9, going to 5. Somewhere in there, there is a slot for you, and we'll let it go at that. That's the way the month is shaping up. As you can see, it's action-packed. Now, in the news, although I will tell you I didn't bring any of my newspaper articles. I've been blogging it and checking out everything in the local news. I mentioned to you on last week's shows that they were having a party out there. They're having a stent party out there at Westmoreland Hospital, and they have 2 doctors giving away stents. Of course, you have to submit yourself to a cardiac cath to do that. And turns out that, I may be wrong about the number, 142 stents were placed in individuals that really shouldn't have had any stent at all. At least that's what a panel of a number of cardiovascular experts determined when they reviewed the charts done on those patients. And so that was front page stuff on Wednesday. It was front page stuff on Thursday. Guess what's not front page, but full page on Friday? It's Edgar. We get money for you. We don't charge you a thing unless we get money for you. Edgar, full page article. What's the byline of his advertisement? Have you received a stent that you shouldn't have received? And if you do, I guess we have money for you. Okay, so Edgar is on it. Look out, folks. Things are going to rock around here. Edgar is on the scene. Now, I was prepared, and I guess I thought maybe on Wednesday I'd have time to go over it. It looks as though I don't have a full open schedule because Mr. Eric Lapp's going to be here. But I'll take the first 15 minutes of our show on Wednesday and talk about really what hit the papers yesterday, especially in the Trib. I don't know about the Post-Gazette, but we've been mentioning for the longest time now issues concerning the Pennsylvania Health Care Cost Containment Council. It's a big number of words, but this group has been in charge with a number of years now of looking at hospital errors, checking out all of our hospitals, finding out who's doing a good job, who's doing a bad job. And I gotta tell you, I've not been real happy with how it was envisioned that these folks at the Cost Containment Council would report to us and how we would use that information. But how we envisioned it and how it's actually turned out has left a really sour taste in my mouth. We were supposed to be able to learn how many errors are committed in our hospitals so that it would then be published. And then we could select hospitals based on a consumer decision made by saying, well, I'm not going to go to that hospital because, well, look at all the errors they have there. Or I'm going to go to this one because they have a lesser amount. Anyway, I don't think we ever really got the information we thought we were going to get. So it's left a bad taste in my mouth. However, there was, if you get the Trib, you know that a really large article yesterday on what's coming down the pike. And what's coming down the pike in 2012 is going to rock the entire hospital community because they're not going to be able to profit off of hospital readmissions. The entire article yesterday was on hospital readmissions, how frequent they are. They did list out all the hospitals, and the number one in the entire state is UPMC with readmissions, and then they talked about how much money they're actually able to make off it. and really the financial incentive that is there to have patients readmitted, meaning there had to be a problem, folks. So it looks like the hospitals are loving the problems because they're making a great deal of money. The patients aren't, but things are going to change in 2012, and I'll talk about it on Wednesday before we speak to Mr. Eric Lapp, and that's the way it is. Let's do this. Let's take a short break. In the interim, I'm going to go hunting down near Hollywood, Florida. Our guest, Dr. Emil Schandl, just left Pittsburgh. He's supposedly home now. He's arrived. We're going to talk about CA profile, a CA profile he invented utilizing HCG to test for whether you may have cancer or not. Let's find out more from the off.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Honey, just got the word. The company's new health plan has a $5,000 deductible. We have to make sure nobody gets sick this year. Remember what those doctor expenses cost for last year's colds and flu? Oh, sorry. I gotta go. Love you.
We can do this. We can cut the fast food lunches, soda, that's a lot of sugar. We could all take that evening walk. And hey, I heard a program about fruit. Fruit of the spirit. What did they say? 1 ounce, the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits with herbs and minerals. We could add them to our breakfast protein shake. Fruit of the Spirit's unique whole fruit puree. Fruit of the Spirit contains fresh fruits native to the Holy Land and alkalizing minerals from the Dead Sea. With no added sugars, Fruit of the Spirit's unique product from 5 years of work with science-based nutritional experts. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, convenient, affordable, and delicious. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. Heard here on KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today on this Monday version of the show, and we're going to welcome back a gentleman who, well, he just left us, folks. He was here in town. He spent a few days up here. By the way, it was like a return home for him because his earlier part of his career was spent right around the Pittsburgh area, in the McKeesport area, as a matter of fact. So maybe you got to see some of the old sites. McKeesport's not looking as good as it might have looked back then, if I can recall. But the gentleman's message is so powerful, I just felt he had to come back, and we could talk about this again, talking about how to diagnose cancer really early by a blood test, or a urine test, or both. The entire profile, he calls it a CA profile. It's his own profile, and he's got the research to prove it. His name is Dr. Emil Schandl. We're going to welcome him back, say good morning. Hello, doctor, and welcome aboard once again. Dr. Schandl, we're hardly hearing you. Can you speak into that phone?
I am. Morning, can you hear me?
All right, now I can. Doc, we got to keep up the quality. However you were just speaking, keep it up just the same. Talk into that receiver, kill that speakerphone. And by the way, Doc, did you make it home okay? Uh-oh, doctor. We got some problems. Let's try that again, Doc. Are you hearing me okay? Okay, well, we're not hearing you very well at all. All right, tell you what I'm going to do. Because the quality is so poor, I'm just going to stop. We're going to take a short break and try to get it rectified. Folks, bear with me. It's too important not to get this clearly, and I know you're all having trouble out there. So let's take a short break. I'm going to get back with the doctor and see if we can get this cleared up and come back again in just a couple minutes.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Through the Spirit. The blessings of Through the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith, but Through the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Through the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Through the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Hopefully we've resolved the problem with Dr. Schandl's phone. Dr. Schandl, you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
You are there. You are loud. You are clear. Stay wherever you are in your home. That's the phone we want you to use for right now. Look, so nice to have you in Pittsburgh. It was like old home for... Did you get a chance to go back to the McKeesport area at all?
Oh,
No, okay. Well, you're back in your home ground right now, which is down the Hollywood, Florida area. Your lab is down there, too. You came to Pittsburgh with a powerful message that you delivered at the Freedom of Choice in Cancer Therapy group. You also spent some time with us. To recap the entire concept here, which is, I think, a powerful message, and that is one that you can test, you can know, you can early detect for cancer. How about this? You can early detect for cancer by use of a blood test or a urine test or both, and the sensitivity of this is extremely predictive of whether you might have a cancer or not, based on the presence of a hormone called HCG. Could you take that part of this and at least expand upon what I think might be difficult for our listeners to appreciate, which is how is it that HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, found as the pregnancy hormone, found in all women during pregnancy. In fact, when you go get a blood test and you think you might be pregnant, that's what they're testing for, HCG. How is it that HCG can be a marker for the presence of cancer? How does that happen?
okay. Well, first of all, I would like to thank Sylvia and Joe Provenza for hosting my appearance there.
Ah, good thanks there. She's a great gal.
One. Number two, the H hormone is part of the cancer profile and by itself not sufficient to do the good work. However, H is the pregnancy hormone, and also I call it the malignant cancer hormone. Apparently, the development of cancer and cancer itself very much, especially initial stages, is very much similar to embryogenesis. Carcinogenesis, similar to embryogenesis.
You got two big words there. Try to explain to our listeners how it is that development of tumors is similar to embryogenesis, development of an embryo, where HCG is one of the main ingredients found in that particular setting of time. Why is it that it also is found in the development of literally any tissue is what I think you're trying to tell us, right?
Yes. Well, this goes back to the early 1900s when Dr. Bird, embryologist, studied this situation, established the fact to him anyway that all cancers are caused by, or cancer cells are original cancer cells have trophoblastic origin. Trophoblasts are the first cells produced after fertilization, and these are the cells which are total cells. That means they can become any kind of a cell in the body, as compared with a pluripotent stem cell. Trophoblasts look with implantations of the uterus, and they are the ones that make the H hormone first trimester a very, very high amount. This hormone is very important for the maintenance of pregnancy. Now, according to Dr. Beard and his observations and studies that published in Lancet magazine in England, the trophoblast cells, embryogenesis, development of embryo, at certain point to create embryonic body, and 80% will go to the gonads and 20% elsewhere into the body, into the lungs, into the liver, into the brain, all the various organs. There they will be.
And there they will remain, huh? Throughout the entire lifetime.
Correct. There they will remain, and because they are so important to the appearance and function of particular organs where they are. But my assumption is that anything that will cause anaerobic state on the cellular level in these organs will cause the trophoblast to come alive. Trophoblast cells will thrive very well under anaerobic conditions. I can see it in pregnancy that they're making a lot of H hormone as soon as external blood vessels, arteries are kept, reach the implantation site, H level is dropping dramatically. Remain at a much lower level, which most likely is due to or rather availability of oxygen. The trophoblast cells, if don't receive if there is not enough oxygen, and trophoblast cells will come alive and signal that their life status by producing the H hormone, and that's what we expect. This is why we see this hormone present, and it develops not only cancer up to 80%, because we are looking at the product of the cells and not the cancer cell.
All right, so if I can just take and help decipher for our listeners what I just heard you say, that 20% of the total trophoblastic activity ends up distributing itself, and from the embryonic stage, 80% of the trophoblastic activity centers itself and ends up in the gonads. 20% ends up being distributed throughout the entire rest of the body. Am I doing okay so far, Doc?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And that throughout our lifetime, should areas of anaerobic activity develop in any organ, they would be what could stimulate those trophoblastic activities in that organ, and by so doing, HCG would be produced. Would I have that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So what you're not saying, what you I'm going to make sure to emphasize is that the presence of HCG isn't due to the fact that the tumors themselves are making HCG, but these anaerobic areas are just the right places for tumors to develop anyway. Sort of like the two go hand in hand, huh? You're going to have cancer develop in an area that is going to be an anaerobic area because that's how cancers work. And it just so happens, if we get in the anaerobic posture, that not only will that be ideal and fertile ground for a cancer to develop, it'll be ideal and fertile ground for trophoblastic activity to be stimulated, and in the process, the HCG will be manufactured and available to be assayed. Do I have that right?
That is correct. Furthermore, if you don't mind, many tumor stuff, and I believe it was looked for more intensively, pathologists find extratrophoblasts present. There's never been really much of an explanation other than what Dr. Craig did in 1902 or somewhere around there, that pathologists do find extratrophoblasts tumors.
So they haven't even been identified in terms of looking under the slide. Pathologists have been able to find them there, correct?
Yes.
So this is where somehow it all gets lost, because I got to tell you, this entire concept I haven't seen been picked up by our conventional medical colleagues. It's sort of been shoved aside for whatever reason, or never fully embraced, whatever, because the use of HCG for detecting the potential of cancers in someone have never really been embraced by the conventional medical community. Why do you think that is? You know, they're pretty smart guys. You figured they might be able to come up with this whole concept too, because the research had been done very early on, beginning of the 1900s, yet they never went there, Doc. Why is that?
Well, actually, it's true and it's not. The truth of it is that it's not good for most malignancies. However, it's been established that it is a very potent tumor marker in germinal tumors.
In germinal tumors, yes.
But I mentioned that 80% of the trophoblasts are in the gonads, again, according to Dr. Smith. And we know that this side of the whole choriocarcinoma kind of tumors are producing very large hormones. So it's been established, perhaps this is the blinding factor, that it present so-called trophoblasts, germinal, everywhere else. Like, so I think that's the main reason that Dr. look for it, but it's not possibly a germinal because the HCG will not be there. And also, until recent doctors, scientists, have not been looking for very much development like cancer or to search for it beyond what's visible. In other words, today's technology is what you cannot not there. And the cancer profile is looking not what you can see, but what you can sense by already sensitive biochemical determination. So we're looking at detecting messages from developing cancer that sometimes may come through, sometimes they may not. Sometimes when we detect very low levels of activity by our test, the tumor marker, the main tumor marker, the HCG, the DHI enzyme, the phosphorus anything, these may just early messages the immune system may detect substance. So the aim would be to look for developing cancer can be detected by any visualization method, which usually have a sensitivity, I believe, around about 3 millimeters size. So if the tumor is 3 millimeters size, then it's detected by the CT, MRI, so on and so forth, whatever methodology there are today. We are looking beyond that. We are looking for messengers which are carried in the blood for the H hormone as well as enzymes. Messengers are actually indicating possible problems. They have to be removed, subdued, because HCC has hormones that has the potential for starting DNA, RNA, and protein synthesis, which are the requirements of the reason. Once you have a chance to go into the PSI enzyme that also is and that enzyme is actually they call it autophagy factor, which is a cancer spreading factor.
That's your HPI enzyme, correct?
Right. HPI, phosphohexapicomerase, also call it phosphaticomerase, phosphoglucoside. Many names, but nobody knows about it.
Okay. Let's take on the issue of, I asked this question when we last were on the radio, but I'm going to ask it again because I just think it would be something that would be in the mind of any of my listeners, and that would be, would you expect, or is it assumed that HCG is present and it is detectable in all cancers? And I underline the word all. Is it 100%? Is it always found to be elevated in every single cancer? Yes or no?
Well, the correct answer is no. We detect about 80% of all cancers, whatever they are, whatever the source is for the organ, but 80%. I believe that. The reason is that for assay, not only that it's not sensitive, because it is, but each hormone has changed. One is an alpha, the one is beta, called it subunit, and existing methodology, even today, can detect either the intact hormone with both subunits, alpha and beta both, or the beta subunit. And some tumors found accidentally laboratories, some tumors were the alpha subunit, no test for that. The reason for that there is no test for that is because that alpha subunit is exactly the same of the pregnancy hormone, I call it cancer hormone, to so-called luteinizing hormone, follicle, thyroid. So there are 4 different hormones that have this one subunit, one chain, exactly identical. So to detect it, then we don't know where it's coming from. So this is really a serious limiting factor. But bridge over this problem, this is the main reason why I established and put together the cancer profile, where we are using more than one marker. This way, in some instances, like lung cancer, colon cancer, and what was the other one? Breast cancer has over 90% accuracy.
90% in those 3 kinds of cancers. Now, that's a fantastic number, 90%. When you consider the answer to my next question, I sort of know the answer, but I'm asking it because when you told me this, we were discussing this off air, and it's such a powerful message that it really brings home why it could be that people would be interested in getting this test. Because I said to you, well, how sensitive is this? And if I can remember our discussion, you said to me, look, this test can actually pick up a cluster of 12 cells. Do you remember telling me that?
Yes, a couple of dozen cells.
A couple of dozen cells, which is such a minuscule and insignificant number in terms of, when one cell divides, it goes to 2, and then it goes to 4, and then it goes to 8. In a matter of minutes, you're at 12. It doesn't take long. But yet, nothing that I have ever heard of has been able to detect such a minuscule number of cells. Why is it that your testing can be that sensitive? How is it that you can derive such small quantities of a hormone that would be indicative of a marker and be able to determine this when really there is no chance for any other diagnostic test, radiographic test, or any other test to be ever able to pick it up? This is far too early for any other test to do so.
Yes, that is correct. It's actually calculated where we do not see the cells to detect the activity of them. And I calculated this out sometimes back that with one cell would make so much H, what's the detection limit of the test? And you see that it's like 2 milli-international units per milliliter. And to have from that point, actually it's even below that, because that's so sensitive that it's actually expected 0.5 MIU international units per ml also. And of course, these trophoblasts make this kind of cells, make the H hormones producing this unless they are stopped by some way. And I think that's one way to stop them, by oxygenation. Therefore, I say that more oxygen, less oxygen, more cancer. So I like to encourage people to do aerobic exercise, do a lot of vitamins, various other modalities. Oxygen pressure is local in the tissue high. But this is a calculated figure that's all what it is. And I think that's quite true, because the detect 0.2, unless but 2 million international units per milliliter. It's about what it requires.
Couple of dozen cells. Now, you interestingly have your own protocol for how you assess whether you feel that the blood analysis or specimen analysis is indicative of cancer. You say that you gotta bear out to show 2 out of 3. In other words, you have 3 markers for HCG. 2 are radioimmunoassay. 1 is a urine test, and the sensitivity of these are all taken into account, and that you have to have 2 out of 3 in order to make the diagnosis, or at least the suspicion, that there's a malignancy present. Discuss that for a moment, if you would.
Because, and due to the extreme sensitivity of the test detection such low level of hormones, some researchers, investigators, scientists, doctors became disenchanted when there was low levels of H present in individuals, and then they went on to perform surgery, possibly detecting a terminal tumor. And super pregnancy is potentially very large amounts of HCG. And so to overcome this possibility, there is the U.S. AIDS Commission, directed by Dr. Cole, University of New Mexico, suggested that at least 2 dissimilar methods of AIDS results should agree. So we are forming 2 dissimilar methods. One is radioimmunometric testing, other one is chemoluminescence. And these are done on blood serum, blood test. We also add a urine test, because that would be, in a sense, confirmatory. Some investigators found that that there is a so-called non-specific binding some tests. They call it heterophile antibodies that will show up in the serum, and that may show up which it is not.
Which it would not be. Okay.
And so the urine test will eliminate that possibility. Now, if somebody, like I have seen it rare cases have only urine positive and not the serum, that situation should be suspicious even by itself. This is further investigated. To make things easier for the physician and also for the individual to understand, this is where the profile comes into play. If somebody has another tumor marker, totally different tumor marker, elevated like a CHI enzyme, for instance, that will add to the suspicion. And of course, if the CA is elevated, carcinogenic anything is a long-established marker, then we really have not a suspicion, but the fact that there is not a diagnosis. The cancer profile would be an excellent junk, if nothing more, for early diagnosis and follow-up of cancer. Because these markers are there for a reason, and the reason being is that there is either a developing distant cancer. Now one needs to understand the fact, and mind the fact that for 10, 12 years or so for a cancer to develop, if an individual has elevated markers, doesn't exactly mean that the person now has cancer. But it means that he's in the process of developing that eventually will go to the size when the currently available methodology will indicate that hey, you have a tumor. And this will take a number of years. So the question is, when it's good to know before tumor is detected at breast cancer. And that's one of the case values of the cancer profile, CK profile.
Yes, absolutely. With that sensitivity of being able to pick up a couple dozen cells, this would be so early on for the potential to be detected by any other means that it takes years, doesn't it, Doc? It takes years to ultimately get the tumor to a size where it could be detectable one of those ways. So this surely is the earliest form of detection I'm aware of, and it just happens to do with how sensitive. I thought it was interesting where you said that if of the 3 HCG tests, the urine test comes back positive and the 2 radioimmunoassay tests don't, then that's highly suspicious for a tumor, even though it's the most crude of the 3 measurements. That's probably why. If it's up, you got to consider there's got to be a tumor marker, because you've eliminated the error that the Navarro test used to have inherent in it, which is the ability to have false positive. You don't have false positives anymore with your testing, correct?
Well, when there is a positive result, and there is no tumor, that's usually, according to the current understanding, false positive. So I've been struggling with that for a long time, because still current methodologies will not be able to detect things for it goes to a certain size. And even when something comes 3 millimeters, a person is not aware of it, not any medical help. So so-called false positive would be extremely misleading. And even today, doctors who may be working with HCG hormone, considering there is an elevated H and there is no tumor, then it's false negative. The audience understands exactly what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if there is a tumor marker, there is a developing tumor, even though may not be able to see it. That's not going to really be a false positive.
So that means that's a more powerful statement, that if you get back a urine test and it's up, there is a tumor somewhere, and even though the tumor may take an inordinate amount of time to develop, and it may never fully develop, I don't know, but you're saying there is tumor activity in order for the HCG test to be positive, bar none. You don't have false positives. You've been grappling with this for a long time. It is indicative of a tumor, and as to whether or not it ever fully manifests, that may be the question. not as to whether it was initially a malignancy or not. Did I hear you correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, in the remaining moments, I'd like to take this to a different level, which is, we got listeners out there right now are saying, you know what, good science, sounds like there's great science behind this. I think I'd like to get this test done. They won't be able to go to their local hospitals and get it done. There is no methodology available. It only is available through your lab, so that you'll have to get these things drawn at a center where they're able to do the proper manipulation of the specimen and spin things down and things like that. So the listener can actually call up and get a kit sent to them, or how is it that a person who's listening to us right now wants to get this test? How do they do it?
One way to do it is to seek out a physician like yourself, have their test ordered at local. The other way is that they will call the laboratory. Our physicians will order it for them. It will send out the kit. They have go to a local laboratory hospital, have their blood drawn, and then they ship the samples to Hollywood, Florida. Usually the best way is there is the patient's own physician is involved with this, because a positive result requires.
Now, someone will need to go over those results and have an awareness of it, and so I should mention, because I did mention the other day when I was on the air Friday, which is you and I sort of agreed that I will be your draw station up here in the Pittsburgh area for those who are listening to me now and wondering, geez, I wonder if I could get that done. Could I go anywhere? And we're going to arrange to have the kids here, aren't we, Doc? And so we'll be able to help you out in getting those specimens drawn. We'll be able to consult with patients after the test is done to explain the results. And I like the idea that we're going to be a sort of a local source to get this job done in an appropriate way, but utilizing such a sensitive test. I think it's a good match, Doc. I'm happy to be on board with you.
I also it's really a pleasure to work with a physician who has vision, and he's not exactly totally traditional. You don't know medicine definitely has its great value.
Now, we shouldn't shortchange your testing to this extent. This is something you have bundled together in what you call a CA profile. And although we've been talking an awful lot about the HCG component of that profile, there are actually 8 tests total in the profile. The HCG component of those 8 occupies 3 of the 8 tests. There are 5 other tests. Now, you mentioned one of them, and you've mentioned it frequently, called PHI, which is sort of your metastasis enzyme that you look for. That's a unique piece of the puzzle I hadn't heard of before. But could you go through quickly all 8 so that the listeners would know what the entire CA profile consists of?
Yes. Well, there's a 3
the 3 HCG tests, correct.
There is very important, one of the most important constituents will be the PHI enzyme of phosphorhexosideromerase,
which you call your metastasis enzyme, right?
Yes. Well, it's called actually, it's named not by me, but by scientists then in South America called autocrine motility factor. This enzyme is a biocatalyst made in the cell. It's very abundant in the red cells, but not in the serum. And this enzyme at abnormal concentrations will leave the cell to dark surface of the cell. It's a receptor. So the enzyme receptors immediately recognize each other, and once the enzyme has stopped the surface of the cell, it will become a neurokine, and that causes this joining docking. The receptor and the enzyme will cause the cell to vibrate. The cell will dislodge itself from one place to another. Being a malignant, it will start to multiply, and then you have another tumor. This could be called a micrometastatic factor. It could also be called a circulating cancer cell that scientists and doctors have been looking for a long time. So this is the second ingredient.
Okay, so now you got 4 of them out of the way. The remaining 4, what are they, Doc?
Next one would be a calcium antigen.
CEA antigen. Very familiar with that. That's something that the conventional doctors use a lot.
Yes. It was designed to monitor colorectal cancer, but it's an excellent broad spectrum cancer marker. Very good for breast cancer and many others. So this aspect of it has been neglected. So these are the active tumor markers. Also, the thyroid-related hormone, because the thyroid is regulating the proper oxygenation, and the lack of oxygen, less oxygen, more cancer. And also we use GGCP or GT gamma-glutamate transcriptase enzyme. This mostly monitors the liver. It monitors the kidneys and the heart, but mostly for the liver and the biliary tract health. And then we have DHEA, dehydroepiandrosterone sulfate, I call it the renal anti-stress immunity longevity hormone.
All right, tell you what, Doc, we are come to the end. I really appreciate just having you leave us to be able to come back to us and carry your message once again. We'll be looking forward, and I'll be letting the people know through the radio show when those kits are going to be available here. If you should choose and want to be able to have the test done, we will be able to be the draw station. We'll have further shows in the future. You won't mind coming back, will you, Doc?
I don't. That's a pleasure.
It was my pleasure to have spoken to you. Hope to meet you soon. Other than that, you have a good time down there in South Florida, and we'll be talking really soon. Okay, Doc?
Thank you.
All right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the CA profile story. All right, bongos in the background signaling our time out of here. I'm going to say so long for myself and Dr. Schandl. See you on Wednesday with Mr. Eric Lapp and how to rescue yourself from addictions. Bye now.
AM Impact on Your Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002. For Dennis